Getting ready to go on a trip to Disney World, Disneyland, or even some other theme park? Well, there are some things that the cast members and employees really wish that you would know and think about before you go. I spent time working for 3 different theme park companies: Silver Dollar City, Busch Gardens, and then Walt Disney World, and had a fantastic time. The vast majority of the guests are wonderful and fantastic, but unfortunately there is definitely this group of guests that you just really think that they were completely out to lunch before the trip and during the trip and very likely afterwards. And so many of those things, so many of the problems and confusion and weird stuff could easily be resolved if they just knew a few things, thought about a few things, and planned a few things ahead of time. So these are some common things that cast members think should be common sense, and that we wish that all the guests that were coming to Disney or Silver Dollar City or Busch Gardens or Six Flags or Cedar Point or any other theme park would think about before they went to the parks and make their trip so much better. The very first thing, prepare ahead of time. Standing in Epcot and asking, where's the castle? Standing in Magic Kingdom and asking, where's Harry Potter World? Being in any of the Disney parks and asking, where's Walt Disney World? What time is the 3 o'clock parade? How do I get a fast pass or a PhotoPass? Why is it so crowded? All of these kinds of questions, along with a lot more common ones, such as where's the smoking areas and where's the bathrooms, and all of these kinds of things can be solved before you ever even get to the parks. It takes a little bit of advanced planning and preparation. And honestly, I don't understand why people don't do this. The average family saves 5 years or more to go to Disney World. It can easily cost more than $1,000 per person. You're spending a lot of money to go to Disney. Why wouldn't you prepare ahead of time to get a clue about where you're going and what you're going to do? I honestly, I don't get this. I'm not going to go spend thousands of dollars on a car and not check the car out to make sure it's running well, in good condition, that everything's good and the legal paperwork's all in order, and how to use it and turn the lights on. And it's kind of the same thing. You're spending all this money. Get a clue ahead of time what you're spending your money on. That way you won't think something silly like Universal, SeaWorld, and Disney are all the same. Because they're not. It will help save you so much trouble and frustration, even down to things like, why are the parks so crowded? It's Christmas. There shouldn't be anybody here. And if you looked ahead of time, you would realize that was the busiest weeks of the year. Just a little bit of advanced scouting and planning. There's so many places online to get information. The park websites are fantastic sources. You can go to Reddit. Most parks have some sort of fan page where the people are happy to answer questions. There's so much information that it's really inexcusable anymore to not have any clue what you're doing or where you're going or how you're getting there or what you do when you're there. The internet's a great resource. Use it. It will save you so much frustration on your trip. Kind of related to that a little bit, plan ahead, especially with Disney World now. If you want to eat at a sit-down dining restaurant, you're probably going to need reservations, and you're going to want to be booking those 3 to 6 months in advance. Because there are places, if you don't book it 6 months in advance, you're not getting in. Same thing with fast passes. You got to know what ride you want your fast passes for, and then you want to make sure that you are on your window to book them, because now you can't just get them when you get in the park. I mean, you can, but what you want to ride is probably not going to have anything available. You've got to book them 30 to 60 days ahead of time. 60 days if you're staying on Disney property, 30 days if you're staying off. Now that's true for Walt Disney World. Disneyland has a different system, and Disneyland Paris has a different system. Well, how do they work? Time to do some research. So those are things you definitely want to have prepared ahead of time. Yes, sometimes it feels like Walt Disney World requires a little bit of over planning, but trust me, you're going to be much happier if you have over-planned and then get there where you can just relax and go with the schedules and the flows. Whereas if you don't plan ahead of time, then you're miserable, because then you don't get on the rides you want to go. You don't get to see the things you want to see, and you're not sure where you're going, and it makes a drastic difference in your whole trip. Plan ahead, relax when you're there. Here's another one that you would think would be common sense and isn't. Use the maps and show guides. Or even better, use the app. So there is this amazing thing when you get to the parks and you walk in. Right near the entrance, there's these neat little brochures. Or if you're at Busch Gardens, it may look something like this. Or at Silver Dollar City, it might even be a newspaper. Well, you're kind of looking going, what on earth is that? Well, these are actually your maps of the park. But not only are they a map, it's also your schedule for when the shows are. At Disney World, you can get a little brochure, and then there's your times guides and your shows and schedules. At Silver Dollar City, you get a neat little newspaper, which is a great souvenir, with a map in the middle of it, and then all about the food and the restaurants, and look, it's a show schedule. But if you're really wanting to do it in advance, or you're too lazy to pick this up on your way in, grab your phone. Every single park out there now has an app, and those apps have the park maps and the show times and so much more. I mean, honestly, I don't understand why you would want to go to Disney anymore and not have this app. This app is absolutely fantastic, and I have to say Disney's is honestly possibly the best app out there, because it's got all of your park maps, it's got show times, it has character meet and greet locations, it has restroom locations, it has restaurants, it shows your PhotoPass pictures. It's all right there. Why don't you use the app? It's free even, it doesn't cost you anything. And most of your questions where you're going, what time's the 3 o'clock parade? Will be on there. And then you'll learn that's not the name of the parade, that it's actually got a real name, like Festival of Fantasy. It's not the 3 o'clock parade. Please don't call it the 3 o'clock parade, because the cast members are just going to look at you like you're dumb, because it's the stupidest question they get. And it's amazing how many people actually ask that question and mean it. No, they're not joking. They're serious. A big one that cast members wish you would remember. We're human beings. We're not a piece of trash. We're not a robot. We're not somebody for you to talk down to and be mean to and be rude to. We're people. And while we try our absolute best not to bring in our home life, we may have some stuff going on at home. I remember working when I was trying to deal with cancer. I remember having to go to work when my father-in-law had died and my wife's best friend had died, and we had all these people and family members that had died within about an 18-month time. And I was going into Disney and I'm trying to make everybody happy. And there were times when it was very, very hard. And then you get these belligerent jerks that because they're paying your way, well, I'm sorry, I don't care how much you pay, it doesn't give you a right to be a jerk. Sorry, my opinion. Which is why I won't be one in the parks. And especially when you're a jerk, you're not going to get good service. If I had people come up and they were really sweet and polite to me, I would go out of my way to help them. If I was at the train at Silver Dollar City, for example, and I saw a kid come up dressed like a train engineer or conductor, I would typically get into a conversation, and if they were sweet and nice, hey, I'm going to find a way to take that kid up to the front of the train and let him meet the engineer and get a good close look at the engine, make their day. But if that same family came up to me and said, you're going to take him up to the front and you're going to do this because that's what we pay you for. Want to bet? Not going to happen. Realize the cast members are there to help you have fun. When you do have a need and a problem, they're absolutely happy to answer your questions. If you come up and ask me the way to say, where's the Haunted Mansion, I'm going to be happy to tell you that it's right over by the Castle Hub, make a left turn at the Liberty Street Bridge, and head across there and it'll be right in front of you. But then if you turn around and say, no, it's not, you're a liar, well, I have no reason to lie to you or make it up. I don't get anything out of that. But when you act like a jerk, well, okay, fine. I'm going to send you on a tour around the park and send you to Tomorrowland and then around the back of that and go through Fantasyland and keep going through that, and then maybe you'll get there. And yes, I did do that to a guest one time who was a pain in the neck and called me a liar repeatedly. Okay, fine. Be nice, and we're going to be nice to you. Kind of related to that too, please don't ask for special treatment or magic. Magic times and magic moments at Disney and other parks, they're magical because they're not expected. They're not supposed to be normal. They're magical because they're not expected. They're not supposed to be normal. There are times that there's a special set of circumstances that, yeah, we may do something for you if you ask gently. And you are far more likely to have it happen if you ask gently than if you tried to demand it. If you demand it, it ain't happening at all. There's also a much greater chance of it happening if you don't ask at all, depending upon what it is. Are we going to let you skip a line? No. But if you have a child that has to run out and go to the bathroom and you ask politely, okay, yes, we're probably going to let you go out, take care of the kid, and then we'll put you back in line where you were. Much more likely to work with you if you ask than if you demand. A great example of this is what we encountered on our last trip down to Walt Disney World. We were at Hollywood Studios and we had 6 in our group. Well, we only had 4 of us with Magic Bands and Fast Passes. And we had a couple times where we had a ride that all 6 of us wanted to go on, like Toy Story Mania. And so I walked up and I said, hey, there's 4 of us with Fast Passes, there's 2 that don't have them, and I'm not expecting you to do anything. It is perfectly fine. If you tell me no, I'm not upset at all. But is there any way that we can transfer a Fast Pass to one of the others or do something like that? Every time I asked something like that way, the cast member went, got you covered, go ahead. In fact, we actually went to go see one of the shows there, and we had 4 special Fast Passes that would let us do anything, and they let all 6 of us in through Fast Pass, just because I asked gently and said, hey, it's a show, I know it's big seats, it's not reserved seating except for this. Is it possible to make this? And yeah, we can do that. When you're nice and sweet and appreciative and gentle, you might be surprised at what they're willing to do and able to help you with. Just don't be a jerk. We're humans. We also don't have special knowledge and abilities in some ways. I've had people ask me, can't you do something about the weather and turn the rain off? Yeah, they really would ask that. No, there's no dome. We're not in charge of God or Mother Nature. That's kind of their business, not ours. We'd have people that come up, and when you're a ride operator, all you know is a ride isn't working, and you might have an idea how long, but probably not. Well, how long is it going to be? Why can't you tell me? What's wrong with it? How bad is the break? How many people were injured and killed? I can't tell you that. Even if I actually knew bits and pieces of it, I'm not going to tell you that. But more than likely, I don't have a clue. I'm just there at the front telling you, I'm sorry, we're closed, and I don't know when it will be, because that's all the knowledge I have. Please be nice in a situation like that. It is not the cast member's fault that the ride is closed at that moment. It's not the cast member's fault that they don't know. The cast member isn't doing it to spite you. I couldn't believe how many people would start in a routine with, why isn't it open? Yeah, this is the whole thing I waited for, and you're just doing it to make me mad. Yes, sir, we actually sat down 2 weeks ago and said, this guy's going to be at the park on this day at this time. Let's make sure it's closed just to make him mad. Really? And yet people act like that. We don't have special abilities and stuff like that. It'll open when it opens. We want to get you on there. Trust me, it's far more fun to actually be working on a ride that is open and moving than it is to stand at the front and tell everybody it's closed. Here's a revelation for you. It sucks standing out there telling everybody it's closed. And it's not any better being in the back when it's closed because you're bored to tears. Much rather have the rides open. We want it as much as you do, maybe more so. Here's another big one for you as well. Don't ignore the directions or instructions of a cast member or employee. They are giving them to keep you safe, to help you have a better time. They're not going to lie to you. If they're giving you safety directions, it's important. If they're telling you how to get somewhere, listen to them. They know how to get there. I was amazed when people would think that cast members' whole goal is to make you mad. Why do you mean you won't let my kid on here just because they're too short? It's to keep them safe. I would actually have people that acted like I wanted their kid to be suffering the whole trip and not go, and I was just being mean. I'm sorry, it's there to keep them alive, and if I value your kid's safety more than you do, there's a problem. Don't ask a cast member if you could fill out a waiver to let him ride. No, that cast member does not want your child's injury or death on their conscience because you're too stupid to care yourself. They're giving you directions and instructions for your safety. If you see a sign that says, don't go here, closed, don't go there. You don't know what's behind that door, but it may be dangerous. Stay in your ride vehicles. Stay seated when you're supposed to be seated. Pay attention. It's all there to help you be safe and have a good time. And here's the truth. Safety comes before politeness. I tried very hard not to ever yell at guests, but if they started to do something stupid, I wasn't going to hesitate to yell at them, mean if I had to keep them safe. I would rather you got ticked off at me because I was a bit rude and be alive than be seriously hurt because I was being too polite. Please sit down over there. It's okay. If you're standing up on a moving ride, I'm going to yell at you to sit down. I don't want you falling out of a Rapids boat or on Rhino Rally. Goodness, I had people that would stand on Rhino Rally when we were on the water portion, not realizing you fall outside that truck, that there's all sorts of cables and gears and stuff, and it's going to mangle you. Pay attention, listen to the cast members. Even things like if they're telling you how to get somewhere, they're not leading you astray. Because I worked at Walt Disney World, I knew my way around. And I'd have families that would tell me, man, when we visited, we never got to do much of anything. We do 2 to 3 rides. All right, stick with me, stick with my schedule. I'm going to push you a little bit and we will get everything. And we could do almost everything at a park because I knew where to go and how to get there. I would do the same thing for regular guests. If you ask me how to get someplace quick or what to do, I'm going to give you good directions because I know it. Really, we're there to help. We don't want to be mean, but don't give us a reason to be. Follow the directions and instructions and you're going to have a much better time. And hey, maybe who knows, cast member might even do something extra. And that's really kind of the biggest thing that I think most of us would say. We don't mind the dumb questions. Just laugh at yourself if you realize you're asking one. We don't mind a lot of the confusion stuff, but be nice and kind to the cast members. You will find that if you were nice and kind to the cast, they're going to be nice and kind to you, and they're going to help make your trip better. Yes, prepare ahead of time, do some research, figure out what you're doing and when you're doing it and why you're doing it and how and all of that. Use the maps, use the app, pay attention to basic safety stuff, but be nice and kind and you're going to have a much better trip. So that's my tips from one cast member to a guest to help you have a great time at the theme parks. I know I'm missing some. If you've been an employee or a cast member and there's things that you would suggest, what would you say? I'd love to hear it in the comments below. Same thing, if you're a guest and I missed something really obvious, comment below. Let's make everybody's trip better. I'd love to hear your suggestions. And hey, if you really disagreed with something I said, I want to hear that too. Don't forget to hit like, share, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that and hit that bell notification. Also be sure to check the description. There's links to the equipment I use, my merchandise, my Facebook fan page, the Discord, the Reddit, and all of those kinds of things. It's all down in the description, so be sure to check that. Also, a huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. My patrons make so much happen with this, and I'm so grateful. And they do get some extra perks and benefits. Want to know more about that? Check out the link to Patreon as well. Thank you so much for watching. There is this amazing thing at the parks when you walk in. Stop messaging people. A great example of this is what we encountered down on our last trip to Here's another big one for you as well. Don't ignore the directions or... My phone is sitting here ringing right now. Who is calling me now? Nobody important. Spammer. I don't like you neither, spammer. If you want to know whenever I have a new video out, well, hey, make sure you hit that button right there and subscribe. If you want to see another video right now, well, I've got a great one right here for you. And if you want to be like these wonderful people here and help support me financially on Patreon, well, check out that link right there and it'll take you to it. Thanks so much and God bless.